Thank you for clicking on the video. Welcome back to the channel. This is another review for American Horror Story NYC, Season 11, Episode 3, Smoke Signals. I'm going to say that so far so good. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the season so far. I was asking for it to get a little, AHS, and it has. It's sort of, AHS is very nuanced, and so I'm seeing bits and pieces. It's not just a who done it. It's not because at first I was like, this is kind of, like your average detective story. Who's the serial killer in town? And I always love those. I really do. I'm not opposed to that storyline at all. But when I'm watching American Horror Story, I need a little bit of American Horror Story. But anyway, let's get to the review. So, and I have everybody's name right. Go me. Go girl. Dr. Hannah is her name. She and Fran are, because I did not want to just keep calling Fran the lesbian lady or the leader of the lesbians. Like, I didn't want to do her like that, so I had to make sure that I knew her name. Anyway, Dr. Hannah and Fran are at a diner. They're, passing notes, discussing, notes or whatever. She wants details. Dr. Hannah does. She wants details on all this, U.S. government talk. And Fran said that she used to work at a lab, or she volunteered, something like that. But while she was there, she was going through the people files. And she read about a situation about some Russian spies, and we flipped to 1952, and they're testing diseases. I said, oh, trigger. Because now, me as a black person, we know all too well about the tests and trials of, testing out diseases here and there, just to see, what happens? Oh, let's give all the black men syphilis. Let's see what happens. Amazing. That's what it gives. They were testing the people, testing diseases, mixing human diseases with animal diseases, trying to create some concoction, trying to create some type of strain that they could use as a weapon. That's very realistic, very, very much real. And they were doing it then, and they're still doing it now. And she says more specifically on that island. And so they need to go figure out what's going on. She says that they're testing on the desperate, people that need money. They're not just going to snatching people up. They're offering, $50 here, $100. And I'm sure I ain't giving them $100, but $20 here, $50 there. If you're somebody that need a fix, then you're the man for the job. And the caveat is you're gonna get some deadly disease behind it. Hannah, she doesn't really want to get behind the conspiracy theory because she being a doctor and a scientist and all of that, she feels like conspiracy theories, dumb down what science really is. And so she really don't want to, she ain't trying to get in on no conspiracy theory, but Fran is adamant that they're the ones that are, spreading the disease to the people that they hate the most. The gays. It's a mess. Anyway, Fran, she suggests that, she takes her findings that you done found from the deer and all of what I just told you, and you take it to the press. And, because I want to say that she doesn't want to be the one to be the whistleblower, because I think they know. I think that's what she said. That the people know that it was her, going through files and figuring stuff out. And so her life is on the line, so she can't be the one, but she urges Dr. Hannah to be the one to go ahead and do it. Stuart, he wakes up in that cage. Stu is all alone. Sam is nowhere to be found. He walks up, up to the house or whatever, and he tries to walk out the front door, and standing at the door is Big Daddy. And he's just like, please just let me leave. Please just let me leave. Big Daddy just standing there, looking straight, not even looking in his direction. So now, guys, I'm of the belief that Big Daddy is like an omen. Like it's given angel of death. It's something. I don't think he's really there. I think that you can only see him when you finna meet your demise, or when death is knocking at your door. I don't know, but I don't think everybody can see him. Anyway, Stewart saw him though. He begs him to leave, and Leatherman just stands there, and he runs out, and he in his drawers and everything, running down the street. Patrick and the chief, they are looking over the case. They didn't find any fingerprints on them hands and none of that. Still following leads though. Patrick, he sits with Stewart, because Stewart is now at the police station, and he recounts what had happened to him the night before. And he tells him, that he answered the payphone. Of course, Patrick is looking at him like, what you doing answering the phone? Are you dumb? He said, listen, we got to get creative to get picked up these days. It's that ain't the only thing that's dangerous we out here doing, which is true. But answering a payphone, and then just really meeting up with a stranger from the payphone, I guess it ain't no different than swipe left. It ain't no different than Tinder, than all of those dating apps. I mean, that's what they was using the payphone for. Anyway, Patrick just takes down all the info because he's gonna help out. Patrick is one of them, so he gonna do something with that information. They show up to Sam's party, and or to his house, to pick him up after he done tied up Stu. And he's hosting a party, cocaine just everywhere. And Sam is just having himself a good time. Patrick in there, he blurts out that he's looking for Sam. And basically they kick everybody out of the party so that they can talk. He takes him, down to where he was holding Stewart, and the cage is gone. I don't think I saw the cage, but I think the cage is gone. How convenient. Sam is making it seem like everything was consensual, and he ain't the first person I done had down here, and he won't be the last. Just really telling them folk what's gonna go down. And Patrick tells him, something went on down here. And he ain't pressing charges, out of fear of his reputation. And the way he's speaking, it's almost like he's talking about himself. Like he done been through some things in that same dungeon himself and didn't press charges because he's a police officer. And, what will the people say? Sam done clocked this tea and walks up on him, gets in his face. And he tells him, all that he knows about his proclivities. I know about you. I know exactly who you are and what you like. He tells Patrick, he threatens him, to tell everybody about his sexuality if he doesn't, back up off of him. So there's that. Patrick just say we done and leave because what he backed into a corner. Honestly, Patrick goes home and tells Gino what done happened. Gino isn't, he ain't satisfied with any of it. It just means that, they'll still do nothing and somebody else will get killed. Patrick doesn't think that Sam is the guy. He doesn't think that he's the killer. The dungeon looked nothing like the dungeon Gino described. And Gino says he worked with a sketch artist. So the sketch is pretty close, and it is. It's pretty close. It's kind of general. That could be any white man. But I feel like that nose could have been more distinct because that nose looks like... how some people have surgery and it's botched and it go wrong or something like that. Or, like maybe, I don't know. It just look ate up. It just looks like holes in the face. It's like no cartilage to the nose. I don't know. Like something is up with that nose. It's a bad nose job or something. That could have been more distinct because that's like a real distinct characteristic, that nose. Anyway, Patrick doesn't think that it's enough to go off of, which is probably not, because like I said, it looks like any old white man. Gino calls him out, for continuing to do. He's like, you always got excuses, trying to come up with some reason to not, press forward with this. I'm sick of your excuses. I'm sick of you derailing our case. I need you to get back focused. Gino thinks that they should, look into the phone booth calls. After talking to a couple of people out there on the streets, a number of people have talked about similar phone calls at the phone booth. And Patrick don't want to go stake out leather bars. He don't want to do none of that. But, sir, you got to do what you have to do. Shit. He gonna go do it, though. And I guess he gonna do it off the record. He's hanging outside this bar. Outside where the payphone is. It finally rings. And it's somebody calling about their abuelita. They on the line, abuelita. He hang up. It rings over and over and over again. And it's not the guy. And then finally he gets a call. And it's from Mr. Whiteley. Mr. Whiteley tells him, meet me at a disclosed location. He gives him the address and he gonna take it from there. Patrick goes and he's inviting him to that like highfalutin, highbrow ballroom scene that Adam went to. This guy walks up to him and tells Patrick, you might want to push that gun down further down in your waistband. Not everybody is as nice to cops as I am. Clocked him right away, straight away. Patrick, he drinking, having his drink, and he sees the guy who kind of, like I said, looked like your average white man. So he got glasses. Patrick automatically just assumes, oh, that's the guy. He followed him to a back room. The man using it as a ruse, thinking, he finna get him a little bit. And they get in the back, and Patrick's like, "Yo, are you the one that called me?" And he like, I guess. Like, oh, we role playing? Okay, yeah, I called you. That was me. Patrick starts to manhandle him like he about to arrest him, turning him around and all of that, pushing him up against the wall, and the man is just completely getting his rocks off. Finally, Patrick is as well. Something about it is just really something about him being the dominant one in the situation. Oh, he like it. And so now they kissing and carrying on. I said, this don't really flip the soft porn. He pull out a whip and starts beating his ass. I mean, beating his tail, Corbin style, like over there at the Pink. Over there at the Pink where Corbin be getting whooped by Uncle Clifford. That's what it was. For those of you who needed the visual. That's what it was. Anyway, the guy from the highfalutin, highbrow ballroom scene who was up there, really getting his life. He got that weird haircut. He was also at the office waiting to see Dr. Hannah. But anyway, he waiting on the train, and he got this rash as well. Whole thing, it's gonna get him too. He hears this voice, coming from, afar, and this the lady from the train again, talking about something's coming for you, something's coming for you, and she scurries off and leaves him standing there in confusion. Anyway, Adam, he's meeting with Gino. They're still comparing notes about the Mai Tai killer. Adam say he got a date though, and it's with Theo, and so Gino is like, "Be careful out there. I know Theo, and I know his man. Be careful." Be careful with that one. He say he been hearing a whole lot of mess about that Sam into some dark stuff, so watch your back with that one. Alana, who is the mistress of that club, of the is it the Brownstone Bar? I want to say it's the Brownstone Bar. Anyway, she's scrubbing the blood off the floor, after Mr. Whiteley shanked that man in the middle of the dance floor. She's scrubbing the floor. And Gino shows her the sketch. And, of course, she's like, oh, yeah, he was there that night. I remember him. Something wasn't right about his energy. I don't know. It was a little bit dark. She thought that it was just because he was a Vietnam vet. But, no, that's not what it is. Gino is like, oh, yeah, that's him, and he needs to be stopped. Can I put some of these sketches around the place? And, she's like, cool, just please don't mess up my wallpaper. I don't know what kind of tape you're going to use. Get you some thumbtacks. because you're not messing up my wallpaper. Adam, he goes by and drops, he's going to this members only gay club, and he's meeting Theo there. He's greeted at the door by Dunaway, who's the hostess with the mostest. I want to say this is her establishment. She's a trans woman. I feel like we've seen her on a Ryan Murphy production before, a smaller role, but I remember her, and she's from, I want to say, RuPaul's Drag Race. Am I correct? Fact checkers. Anyway, Dunaway meets him at the door, and he tells Dunaway about the Mai Tai killer, and he asks him to post flyers as well, and she like, oh hell no. You post up them flyers, it's gonna look like the daggone bus station. She said, this is not, we not one of them. This is not one of those places. Can't have flyers of you wanted people all up and through the establishment scaring the people off. And no, God. He asked her about Big Daddy, and she's like, oh, I ain't never seen him. But listen, when you find him, send him my way. Send Big Daddy round here. Theo, he finally gets there. And again, outside the door, behind him is Leatherman, Big Daddy. Nobody saw him, no. He an omen. He's an omen following Theo. And you know where he stemmed from? Sam. He joins Adam on the couch. And, Adam like, why are we even here? What we doing here? Like, I don't know what you got going on, what you think of me. I ain't the hookup kind of guy. I'm not even, I don't even know why I'm here. Because you for the streets. You got a whole man. I don't know what to do. Adam don't want to stop fooling around with him, but he also doesn't trust the situation he's getting himself into. Anyway, Mr. Whiteley, he's not Theo. Let me get it again. Adam shows Theo the sketch of Mr. Whiteley and asks if he's ever seen him. And while he's showing him at the same time, Gino is over there showing Henry at the Brownstone Club the same sketch. And Henry said he did see the man the night prior. He saw Mr. Whiteley, and Gino was like, why you ain't called the police if you saw him around here? Henry scoffs at him a little bit, like, what was I supposed to say, Gino? What was I supposed to say? Oh, a man is leaving with another man at my club, at the gay club. What am I supposed to say? They're gonna laugh me off the phone. Gino reminds him once more of what happened to him. And, he was like, listen, I find it funny that I was kidnapped after walking from around here, leaving here with the drink that you gave me. Henry say he ain't the one that did it. He say, I ain't made your drink. I ain't drugged nobody. I ain't fixed no drink. It wasn't me. Patrick is pulling out all of his leather stuff. Really, the time he had at the place, he done had a time and he ready to get back out there in the leather streets. And he's getting reacquainted with all his stuff, and he trying on stuff and notices he got a rash forming on his arm as well. I think Patrick got the package. Back over there with Adam and Theo. Adam is asking about Sam, like, who is he? What's he into? Sam, the one that brought Big Daddy into the mix and all of that. Theo says that, he introduced him to Big Daddy, but Big Daddy is dead. And Adam's like, nah, I saw that nigga. He is not dead. I saw him round the park. I'm telling you, I saw him at Central Park. I saw him and he had a little chain hanging down. I saw him. That was him. Theo is like, well, shit, if you seen him, then, we're gonna have to find him then. The waitress brings over a Mai Tai with Adam's name on it, and at the bar standing waiting on him to get his drink is Mr. Whiteley. He like, and then when they turn and look at him, he kind of try to scurry off. But At the same time, Donna, we see somebody locking the doors from the outside. And when Dunaway goes, I guess to leave or to open the door, she sees that they're locked in. And she starts panicking, screaming or whatever, that the door is locked. Adam, of course, knows it's the Mai Tai. Well, he thinks that it's the Mai Tai killer locking them in. And when they finally, get the doors to open, it's Big Daddy standing there, and he throws in a cocktail situation and sets the place on fire, sets the foyer on fire, and then closes the door and locks them in there. Somebody breaks the window though, so they got the people out of there eventually before everybody could burn up. Dr. Hannah, she's meeting with this guy trying to get some funding so she can test some blood, test some patients or whatever. He say, I can't sanction that. I can't help you with that. He tells her you're gonna have to go through the proper channels. On her way out the door, she sees Mr. Whiteley being rolled in from the fire, and she looked like, oh, okay. We find out that 4 people did die from the fire. Hannah, she gets on the phone. She calls her lab. She say, prep 15 blood kits stat. I'm coming around there to get it. In the waiting room, Adam, he's still like reeling with emotion, blaming that whole fire on the Mai Tai killer. He's also suffering from asphyxiation, and all kind of respiratory problems from the smoke inhalation. He fighting the nurses. They trying to get him to calm down so that they can help him. He tells Theo, listen, go. You go and you try to find Gino. Find Gino and tell him what done happened. The Mai Tai killer is in the building. Because he was absolutely at the little club. When Theo is running for the door, Dunaway grabs him by the arms. Sis burned real bad. The whole one side of her body is just burned badly. And she tells him that something is coming, before they wheel her off. Theo gets on the line and calls Gino. Gino and Patrick show up to the hospital. And Adam tells Gino that the Mai Tai killer is here. He's in the hospital right now. Gino goes right to the front desk, to ask about, he shows the lady the sketch and asks them, was he in there? She's like, oh yeah, he was in room 11. They run to the room 11. Of course, he done discharged himself already. He ain't have no burns or nothing like that. So he was free to go. Dunaway, she's in her room talking to Hannah. Cause Hannah done went down there on the floor where they got all the burn victims, and she's getting her own samples anyway. And so she in there talking to Dunaway, and she tells her that she saw the man that threw the fire on them. He's coming not just for the boys. He's coming for all of us. All of us. He's coming for all of us. Hannah is running around the hospital. She, like I said, impersonating hospital staff. Because I don't even know if she work at the hospital. She work at some clinic somewhere, but I don't think she works at this hospital. But she got her lab coat on and everything, so the people think she one of them. She getting blood samples from everybody, from the patients for her clinical research. She gets a sample from Adam as well. And apparently she and Adam are well acquainted. Adam says to her, you're glowing, did you get an ultrasound yet? And she's like, no. So are you pregnant, Dr. Hannah? And by who? Then he says, I feel good about what we did. What y'all do? We'll come back to it. We'll come back to it. That one there, Dr. Hannah, the actress itself, they always got her playing some little sneaky something, Anyway, she moves on to Mr. Whiteley's room. She gets his blood sample, and he's very impatient. Like, he's trying to hurry her up. Before she can even finish, she done snatched off the thing off his arm, and just leaves. And Mr. Whiteley be tipping, don't he? I said, you better tip Mr. Whiteley. Mr. Whiteley got him a little tip. It's a stroll for real. Be tipping on. Meanwhile, Patrick and Gino, they're running through the hospital as well, looking from room to room, looking for Mr. Whiteley. Gino runs into him at the front door, and Mr. Whiteley, you know, kind of looks at him and like pushes him down and runs back into the hospital. Gino sees him, you know, trying to walk out and gives chase once again. So he's chasing him again. Mr. Whiteley is just leading him further and further, deeper and deeper into the hospital where ain't nobody gonna be able to hear him, further away from safety. Gino ends up in the morgue, and he opening the drawers looking, and of course he gets snuck by Mr. Whiteley and gets knocked out. He tying him up at the feet and at the hands, and he tells him, you know, I'd never spilled the blood of a vet. I'd never do that. But see, this is different. You'll just freeze to death. And then he pushes him on into freezer 15 and goes on by his business. Patrick still searching the halls. That's where we end, with Patrick just searching the halls for his man. It was getting good too. It was getting good. Let me get off here so I can go on and review episode 4. Anyway, be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It's Call Me Busby, and I'll chat with you later. Peace and light.